Pam Bondi had never lost faith that her power would keep challengers at bay. But as Florida's former Attorney General, when she exposed his dirty deals and hidden interests, the reign of the man who once commanded high esteem came crashing down. Having relentlessly battled corrupt politicians, drug cartels, and high-profile criminals, Bondi now found herself confronting the dark underbelly of one of the most sacred institutions of justice. Sitting at her desk in an office cluttered with thick files, financial records, depositions, and sworn affidavits, Bondi could hardly believe her eyes. Behind the facade of a pristine image was a judge who had presided over life-changing cases for over a decade, Judge Robert Kinsey. Although his official record shone brilliantly, it concealed years of covert corruption. Opposite her, former courthouse clerk Kyle Donahue sat quietly, revealing Kinsey's hidden files. Kinsey has been twisting cases in favor of a select few for years. Files disappearing, illogical verdicts rendered, always benefiting the same elite, Kyle said, his voice trembling. According to him, developer Daniel Reyes, who should have been imprisoned for fraud, was released thanks to Kinsey's dubious rationale. Similarly, corporate executives' insider trading charges were dropped, businessmen with offshore ties were acquitted on technicalities, and even a money launderer's conviction was overturned on flimsy grounds. All of it pointed to a dark pattern revolving around Kinsey and the power of money. In a voice heavy with determination, Bondi asked, "So what is Kinsey's real financial situation?" Kyle explained that although his official records showed no extravagant cash flows or luxurious lifestyle, hidden offshore accounts, real estate holdings under multiple aliases, and a network of shell companies were all in place to conceal his true income. "He's being protected," he whispered. Bondi's eyes darkened as she stated, "A system built to shield unexposed crimes. And this is beyond any corruption I've ever fought before." That day, parked outside the Hillsborough County Courthouse under Florida's blistering heat, her mind was preoccupied with the weight of the impending battle. Meanwhile, within the courthouse corridors, Judge Kinsey continued to assert his dark authority as usual. Then, Bondi's phone rang with Detective Mark Henshaw's voice, trembling yet resolute. "Kinsey has hidden assets tied to shell companies in the Cayman Islands. We've traced 3 separate companies, and there are more. Our sources say he's aware he's being watched and is actively laundering money." Those words brought a ruthless satisfaction to Bondi. Time was running out. Clutching her documents tightly, she strode toward the historic courthouse lobby. Outside, an anxious Kyle asked, "Are you really going to do this?" Bondi nodded silently but determinedly. Inside, in Judge Kinsey's courtroom, where a routine contract dispute was underway, Bondi's mind raced with every hidden account and secret transfer. When the session recessed briefly, she stood up, breaking the courtroom silence with a powerful declaration. "Your Honor, we have unfinished business here," she announced. Kinsey shot back coldly. "Miss Bondi, you are not a party to this case." Yet, with unwavering resolve, Bondi produced the manila folder from her bag, a folder bursting with financial records, offshore accounts, and corporate connections. For a fleeting moment, a crack appeared in Kinsey's composed mask. "This means nothing," he muttered. "Not yet," he added. Bondi coolly replied, "No, Robert, the mistake was yours. Now the world will learn the truth." Stepping into the humid Florida afternoon, Bondi immediately called Detective Henshaw. "I need you to meet me now. We've compiled 24 hours worth of data." Shortly thereafter, in a dimly lit diner, Henshaw spread a stack of papers across the table. Documents linking Kinsey to shell companies, developers, CEOs, politicians, even evidence proving that the biggest cases had merely been verdicts for sale. "Talking about one corrupt judge isn't enough. There's a network protecting him," Henshaw explained. "He's laundering money. Offshore accounts have seen huge withdrawals in the past week. If he plans to run, we don't have much time." With a determined expression, Bondi pushed aside the files and declared, "We will force his hand." Then she reached out to former courthouse clerk Kyle Donahue again. On the other end of the line, his voice trembled as he revealed, "Kinsey is just the beginning. There's also Natalie Briggs. Natalie, who had abruptly left Kinsey's chambers and might hold the final piece of evidence, lived in a modest house on the outskirts of Tampa with a dimly lit porch. Bondi knocked on the door repeatedly. Finally, it creaked open to reveal a tired yet alert face. Natalie Briggs? Introducing herself in a firm but courteous manner, she said, "We need to talk." Natalie hesitated, then murmured, "Come in, but if anyone asks, say you were never here." Inside a dim room with drawn blinds and half-packed boxes, Natalie recounted in a hushed tone how she had kept unofficial ledgers during her time with Kinsey, tracking where money went and who benefited. "Things weren't as they appeared," she whispered. Then she described the silent warnings. Her house being ransacked, tires slashed, even her pet disappearing. Slowly, she retrieved a small flash drive from a desk drawer. "This is everything you need. But remember, if you take this, you must finish what I started. Do not allow this man to don his robe again." With a determined glint in her eyes, Bondi replied, "I promise." Back in her office, Bondi examined the contents of the flash drive. Transaction logs, offshore account details, case notes, and even transcripts documenting every corrupt decision made by Judge Kinsey. Daniel Reyes's fraudulent case, Lewis Carver's insider trading trial. Every piece of evidence made it clear that Kinsey had not acted alone. With renewed resolve, Bondi immediately called Detective Henshaw. "We have everything we need. Meet me at the courthouse first thing tomorrow." The next morning, as she entered the Hillsborough County Courthouse, every step was shadowed by Kinsey's watchful gaze. In courtroom 3B, during a corporate fraud trial, Kinsey maintained his usual calm, authoritative presence. Suddenly, Bondi stood up and declared, "Your Honor." Kinsey promptly ordered, "Miss Bondi, you're not a party to these proceedings. Please sit down." Yet Bondi produced the thick file from her bag once again, proclaiming, "Judge Kinsey, you have betrayed the trust of this court, the people of Florida, and the very foundation of justice." The courtroom fell into a heavy silence. Kinsey gripped his gavel tightly as Detective Henshaw and two federal agents entered from the back. Bondi placed a flash drive atop the court file. This drive contains records of offshore accounts, illegal transactions, and tampered cases spanning over a decade. Kinsey's face paled as he sneered. "Do you really think this will work?" Bondi responded coolly, "The system has already turned against you." As U.S. Marshals fastened handcuffs around him, the courtroom reverberated with shocked murmurs. In Kinsey's eyes, along with anger, a hint of fear flickered, a silent admission that his reign was coming to an end. Under Florida's scorching sun, Bondi was soon surrounded by news vans and an eager press. Detective Henshaw, patting her shoulder, remarked, "That was something." With resolute determination, Bondi replied, "This is just the beginning. Kinsey is merely the tip of the iceberg. The money flow, the connections, they run much deeper." Thoughts of Natalie Briggs, called Donahue, and the countless innocent victims filled her mind. "We can't stop here. We have to dismantle this system," she declared. Henshaw asked, "Are you sure you're ready for that?" Meeting his gaze, Bondi answered, "If I weren't here, I would never have won this battle." 3 days later, during an interrogation at the Tampa Federal Detention Center, Kinsey, now stripped of his grandeur and replaced by a plain uniform, sat quietly as Detective Henshaw detailed his tainted transactions and backroom deals. Watching from behind a glass partition, Bondi's eyes were steely with resolve. For the first time, Kinsey's gaze revealed a vulnerable admission, a silent acknowledgement that his empire was crumbling. As she left the detention center that day, Bondi whispered, "Justice always finds a way." "Speak up," she had always said, and today her voice had delivered a final, resounding blow to the corrupt system.